Came home and he was like, babe, I lost my job. I'm like, all right, cool. A month later, like the bills, it was time for the bills or whatever. Like, the bills due, babe, or whatever. And he was like, okay, I'm not working. And I'm just, in a month, like, it's all kind of hustles. You could have been doing something or whatever. So I told him, I said, look, if I pay these bills, are you going to pay me the money back? This man had the nerve to tell me, why should I pay my wife back for paying our bills? My money is my money, and his money is our money. Why should I spend my money paying the bills? Like, no, he should have paid me back. So that's when I decided, like, I can't be with this man no more. So I had sex his homeboy. Like, we all cool. I text his homeboy or whatever. I met up with him. Started venting, like I started getting emotional. One thing led to the next. Things happen. Like, y'all understand what I'm going through. So his friend ended up giving me some money or whatever. And he was like, babe, look, don't worry about it. Handle whatever you gotta handle. Like, his friend was every single thing I desire in a man. And, ain't nobody trying to hear my side.
Are you serious?
This comment.
Let's read this comment quick. LMAO. You saying $117,000 in a year is not a lot? Then you must have a lavish lifestyle. Let's continue.
$117,000 a year is $10,000 a month. It's not that I live a lavish lifestyle. It's that I live an adult life. I'm 25 years old. You cannot survive on $10,000 a month. I can't.
I want to say the median income is like $40K. Maybe less than that. Some people live on 20 to 30 grand a year. You can't live on 10 grand a month? 10 grand a month. That is one of the most insane TikToks I've ever seen. Entitlement. That's what is bred with millennials, Gen Z, the newer generations. We are entitled smug pricks. That's what we are. And it's the truth.
You know how you go get your hair done, but before you get your hair done, you have to put down a deposit. Before you get your lashes done, you have to put down a deposit. Before you get your nails done, you have to put down a deposit, right? And if you don't show up, you do not get that deposit back. So I came up with an idea. We should start charging these men deposit to date us. Like, we should start charging them a fee to date us. Like a 30-day trial. You pay like $1,000 to date us. So, and if they don't do right by us within them 30 days, we keep the money. I'm just saying, like, I think we should start charging men to date us.
If you're a man and you want to talk to me, at this point, you got to put a deposit down. If it doesn't go well, you don't get your money back. If it goes well, you still don't get your money back, but at least it was paid.
This guy, and I said, I want flowers weekly in a relationship. That's just the standard. And he was like, flowers weekly? That's just insane. That's nuts. No way. To you. He said, what you're not willing to do, the next man will. Who gets mad? He gets mad. Then I asked him, why do you think that's so crazy? And he was like, it takes away from the value of getting surprise flowers, every once in a while. If you get them weekly, you won't appreciate them anymore. What the hell? Who that gets flowers weekly would stop appreciating them? Maybe if someone's ungrateful out there, maybe you. But I feel like weekly flowers, knowing you thought about me Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever you pick them up, I'm like, oh, I love you. Thank you. Do more men think that? They think that the more they get a woman flowers, the less they mean something? What? Back to him getting upset. I was like, yeah, another man will be willing to do it. And he was like, wait, what? Like, why would you say that? Because it's true. Even one thing that a man hates about me, the next one's going to love. One thing that a man's not willing to do, the next one will do, like, without me asking. It's so, like, frustrating. First of all, I don't even like to argue with men because it's like, get out of my face. But having to make a man understand the mind of a woman is just... I just feel like they either have it or they don't. Like, the understanding. Because that was an insane conversation. If I tell you I want flowers every week, you better be at Trader Joe's every damn week. I'm not even asking you to make me a bouquet, although that would be nice. Love that. Just some flowers. You don't have $15, $20 to spare every week?
Shut up, bitch!
If you ever met a woman, ever spent any time around them, you know that they are the gold standard for the law of diminishing returns. She knows, despite her lying to us on camera, that she used flowers as an example, so let's stay with that. if this man got in the habit of bringing her flowers regularly, and if something happened, weather, traffic, some type of disease, because plants have diseases too, some type of disease on the plants that make them not germinate properly, or that the price skyrockets, and all these factors are out of your control. If you walk in that house after buying her flowers every day or every week or whatever the fuck she was talking about, if you do that, and that factor you couldn't control keeps them from walking into that house on the appointed day, she wouldn't be smart enough to say, you know what, things happen, it's okay. She would be upset, fictitiously and unreasonably. She would put you in a position to where you have to defend your actions despite the fact you have no power over them. And she would bitch. And she would complain. And like most modern women, she'd probably cut off the sex to punish you for something you had no power over. Which leads us right into today's episode. Part 2 of should prostitution be legalized? Should it be legalized and completely removed from all criminal stigma? I'm going to leave that question down for you guys in the comment section. But in order for that to happen on a wholesale, not just in isolated pockets like in Amsterdam or in Vegas or some parts of Germany, I would imagine, and other parts of Southeast Asia, outside of that, to make it something that anyone could do and participate in, there's a couple of things that would have to happen first. In fact, there are four things that must, in my estimation, happen before it became law and before it became something that was universally accepted. Number one, it would have to be regulated. Much like any restaurant or barbershop has to comply with local health department regulations as far as cleanliness, as far as the materials being sanitized. Something like this would have to come under some type of regulating body that would be accountable to the voting public, not just some bureaucracy. This governing body would have to have standards in place. And I'd imagine they'd be things along the lines of the women must be tested on a very set interval. Once a week, twice a month, every 3 days, I don't know. And I would leave it up to them to decide. But they would have to go to a clinic and they would have to see an actual doctor, not some quack to sign off on it. But they would have to be seen by a medical professional and prove that they are not infectious. Furthermore, the flip side to that argument is that the guys, the Johns, the customers would have to wear condoms. No excuses. And they would have to have non-latex options as well for those who might be allergic. And lots of them in the event that that's the situation, as to prevent a medical emergency. Number 2, it would have to be taxed. Governing bodies are not going to let something that would be this profitable this fast. Because trust me, once word gets out that brothels are legally open, just like a Burger King or McDonald's, trust me, Uncle Sam's going to want his cut. Local municipalities are going to want their cut of the action. So fine, the exact same way you tax a construction worker, the exact same way you tax a chick working the drive-thru at Wendy's, the exact same way you tax anyone in this economy, you tax the girls as well. They could use the waiter and waitress model. You know, they get paid by tips and then there's a flat base fee. There's ways to figure that part out. People far smarter at math than I am could do that. But as long as the government got their cut, that solves that problem. Number 3, it would have to be licensed. We don't let people drive heavy machinery in this country without a CDL. And there's different types of CDLs. So if you want to drive a backhoe, if you want to drive a big dump truck, if you want to drive an 18-wheeler, you need to go through DMV's CDL training. If you want to ride a motorcycle, you have to get a motorcycle license. If you want to go hunting or fishing, you got to get a hunting or fishing license. So, since our government is so proficient at printing up licenses for very specific avenues of behavior, what's stopping them from printing a new license? S-worker. Good until, 5 years, every 10 years, I don't know. People smarter than me can figure out the length of time before you have to renew it. You have to take a test, then you take your blood test, and so forth and so on, and then you are up and running. You now have a license, so now you can go and apply at the local brothel. Will they hire you? Probably, because supply and demand is a real thing. But at least if you have your license, you have a governing body regulating that, watching over you, making sure you are who you say you are, and you're not a renegade out here on the street doing it your own way, completely outside the system. Number 4, with those licenses, that completely eliminates what is going to be a major objection from many people. And that's the human trafficking aspect. You see, if you had to be 18 to get the license in the first place, with proof through government documents, you couldn't be a working girl, a streetwalker, a brothel worker, unless you were of the age of majority. You would have to be 18. Otherwise, you're breaking the law. You can't get the license. And again, you're a renegade. You're outside the system. Now, I understand there's a moral component, and a lot of people would not want a brothel in their backyard. They wouldn't want one within a few blocks of a school building. And I'm okay with that. We have zoning laws in place right now for just that reason. You wouldn't put major heavy industry right next to an elementary school. You wouldn't do that because the fumes and the sound and it. We're smart enough after all this time to know where to put things. In every major city in America, there's a Walmart, for example. And Walmart's system is almost flawless. So much so, their direct competitor, Target, and places like Kohl's, as well as indirect competitors like Lowe's and Home Depot, have also adopted the big box retail strategy. And it's very rare that you'll find a Walmart where you can't go a mile or two up the road and find a Lowe's or Home Depot as well. It's difficult to go to a part of the country and you don't see that. Why? Because Walmart does the math first before they ever break ground. This city can handle a Walmart of this size, and if we build one of this size in this part of the country, it can bring us this much revenue. So, how about we use Walmart's tried and true planning structure, and we build a brothel out in the middle of nowhere, a road in, a road out, a massive parking lot, a parking garage, if necessary, on site. Make this entire building purpose driven. Have a medical facility on site. In the event that a gentleman goes in there with a heart condition and he bites off more than he can chew, so to speak, they can rush him downstairs for medical treatment. Make it somewhere where it's maybe a 10-minute ride to the hospital. There's plenty of places in your city where it's nothing but trees. It's been nothing but trees forever. A few bulldozers can take that problem and solve it real quickly. We build the building up. Everyone knows why they're there. It's away from residential. It's away from school. It's away from grocery stores. There's no chance that anyone in this part of town is there other than for that reason. And so, when you take this building full of people who are all there for the same thing, 3 things happen immediately. Number 1, the girls are getting what they came there for. Number 2, men who are at any level, guys who can get laid, guys who get laid infrequently, and the guys who they refer to as incels, guys who are involuntarily celibate because they're not suave, they're not handsome, socially awkward, they don't have a lot of money. But these guys themselves get an opportunity to release themselves, get the poison out, if you will. And they can go on to be productive in the rest of their everyday lives. Now listen, before somebody tells me, I understand the difference between obligational and transactional sex versus passionate, raw, emotional sex when a woman's really into you. They are different. I admit this. Someone feel free to quote me on this. I know the difference between the two. But there are some men who don't get validational sex. In this system where women have rights, what often happens is they gravitate towards the top 20% of all men. Highest earners, the most sexually pre-selected. In this modern era, men have been held hostage to women's hypergamy. They've chased after the top 20, in some cases the top 10% of all men, leaving 80% of the men completely invisible to the average woman. Rather than the opportunity to pair up with looks equivalent, these men are left out in the cold. Especially in the modern era of internet dating and the world's most successful dating app, Instagram. The opportunity to go to a place like a brothel would be a dream because, for the most part, their lives are pretty squared away. It's just that female touch equivalent, or that female touch component rather, that's missing. The opportunity to go to a place where the outcome was guaranteed, but his part of the equation, would take so much stress and grief off the plates of most modern men. There would be no need to go overseas in some cases, because you can go up the street, hang a left, find a good parking space. Maybe they even valet in this place, hypothetically, and you get what you came for. Because most of the women you meet at the grocery store, at the mall, at the wherever you would see them, are on OF. They've got amateur content from their ex-boyfriend or 3 or 4 ex-boyfriends ago up on the hub for your viewing pleasure. And she wants you to buy jewelry and make her a wife. No thanks. What an awful deal. Because rather than tiptoe through the landmine that is modern dating in the hopes that you can seal the deal, wouldn't you rather have a straightforward conclusion where you know, and all you need to do is bring a pre-selected, pre-agreed upon amount of money for that to happen? How many guys will work double shifts, overtime, nights, weekends, holidays even, to make sure they had that amount of money, cash in hand, to elicit this outcome? I'm not saying a solution, but it would be a damn good one. And it would go a long way to showing the modern woman that your monopoly that you have abused to great effect is now in shambles. Boyfriends don't have to deal with a girlfriend who is not holding up her end of the bargain while still holding her hand out, demanding his resources. They can say, you know what, cool, don't even worry about it. I'm not going to take anything from you, certainly not that. Be back in an hour. And she can let her mind wander as to what that means. Stay tuned for episode 3 where we discuss another option that's on its way. And let me tell you something, guys. If you think women were lured about brothels being legal all over the country, OMG, when you hear about the third option that's coming and coming very soon. With that said, fellas, that's my time.